Excited tonight. Thank you. I'm so excited not only because I'm no longer contagious. What? Penicillin. But also, my best friend just had a baby. Yeah, but unfortunately, her boyfriend took off on them. I was like, he's a bastard. She's like, yeah, he's an asshole. I'm like, oh no, honey, I meant the baby. But a lot of people have words that they don't like to hear, and for most that's moist, but I love that word. Like, I wish I could have been introduced tonight as Moist Monahan. But everybody's like, stick with Jackie. I'm like, all right. But the word that I hate to hear is breast. It is like nails on a chalkboard. But I do find that people look at me funny when I go to restaurants and I order grilled chicken titties. Not really sure why. But I was actually out to eat one time with this guy, and he told me that really attractive women are horrible in bed. They just lie there bored. Where average-looking girls are wild. They will do anything. To please their man, and right then and there, I was like, oh my God, I must be gorgeous! Turns out, no, I'm a lesbian. I like my fish without the bone. And you'd be surprised at how many guys, when they find out I'm a lesbian, they're like, what do you and your girlfriend do in the bedroom? Like, that is inappropriate and private. I save that for my MySpace page. That's where that belongs. And this lesbian asked me if I like to get fisted. I was like, no way, right? Never, ever, ever, ever. Well, unless it's by a midget. Or like somebody with a baby arm. You know, like one's regular, one's a baby. Does anybody hear of a baby arm? They're like bonuses in the lesbian community. My girlfriend was really excited a few months ago. She came home and she was like, Jackie, I just want to tell you that dear Abby is now supporting gay marriage. I'm like, oh my God, she's still alive. And writing that column, but turns out, no, her daughter's writing the column. She has Alzheimer's. I'm like, oh, it'd be so much better if the OG Abby was still writing the column, right? People would be writing in, complaining about their relationships, and her response would just be like, pancakes! I want pancakes! Why won't anybody visit me? Oh, God, I made the mistake last night of changing my safety word to harder. Oh. I should have stuck with aardvark. That always worked. Oh, does anybody else get themselves in sticky situations when they confuse the words gentrification with genocide? I way overreact when people talk about their neighborhoods. He said he lived in Brooklyn. But every single person in my neighborhood has a dog. And this one woman was recently bragging to the news all about how she had been choking. Her dog sensed that she was in trouble, jumped on her, and the food came up. But I'm like, I don't see what the big deal is. Because when I was a bit younger, my dog knocked me down the stairs. Turns out I had been pregnant. I lost the baby. My dog sensed that I was in trouble. But I didn't go bragging to the media about my wonder dog. Like, what's that, Lassie? She's in her second trimester. Well, then we better hurry. Personally, I worry way too much to have children. Like, just today I heard that another innocent child was abducted. I'm like, when the hell are they gonna get the guilty kids? Does it pay to be good? I grew up an only child and still am. Is anybody here an only child? What do people say when they find out you're an only child? You must be spoiled. I'm like, well, if by spoiled you mean neglected and abused. Sometimes you don't want all of your daddy's attention. That's how I felt. Sometimes you wish you had a prettier older sister who couldn't run so fast. I said that recently at a veterans hospital, and there was this little old guy right up front in a wheelchair, and he was like, I wish I was your daddy. I was like, I wish you were too, because we had stairs. I'm not very subtle when I tell people things, so to cushion the blow, I like to do so with a song. Like recently, I sang this to my friend. I was like, hey, Julie, what? Trim that bush. I said, hey, Julie, what? Trim that bush. I said, hey, Julie, what? Trim that bush because your thighs have got sideburns. It had to be done. She was like, here's my bush, the rest of me comes later. It was like a reverse mohawk at the beach. It was not pretty. But music makes everything better, doesn't it? Can anybody think of something that music wouldn't make better? I can. Rape. Especially if it's techno. Those songs don't end. The only thing I hate more than techno is when comedians do impersonations. Ugh, I get the idiot chills. This is Katharine Hepburn singing Guns N' Roses. Where do we go? Where do we go now? Where do we go? I, where do we go now? Where do we, sweet Reach out of my heart, wide open. Okay, this one is a cat doing Cher. If I could, I take back all those words, half-breed. This is a sheep doing Stevie Nicks. Stand back, stand back. Oh. So if I'm acting a little weird tonight, it's because I'm speedballing. Wasn't feeling well. I took a little NyQuil and DayQuil. I refer to it as DayQuil. DayQuil. So when certain guys come up to me and they're like, "Hey, baby, how you doing?" Like, I know it's not a deterrent to say that I'm a lesbian. But what works is if I say, "I'm doing great since I found Jesus." I'm like Okay. So my friend told me that in every city or town, there's a wooded area where guys hook up with one another. And he's like, "Jackie, is there such a thing as a lesbian cruising area?" I'm like, "No. Can you imagine that? Some big bulldog kind of behind a tree, waiting for some pretty young thing to walk by, like, psst, 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 you want some of this? How about some of this? Come be behind this tree." Like, it would never happen. But if there was such a thing as a lesbian cruising area, it'd be the big bulldog kind of behind the tree, waiting for the girl to walk by, like, "Psst, psst, psst. Do you want to open a bookstore?" So guys get away with things all the time by being like, "I am so sorry. I wasn't thinking with this head. I was thinking with this one. And all is forgiven." So if I said anything that offended anybody tonight, please know I didn't say it with these lips. I said all these. Thank you so much.
I'm glad to see that nobody went for the cheap seats in the back. It's great, great. You guys, it smells like a French fry in here. It's nice. I'm really hungry. Summer is over. I mean, not really, because there's actually still like 2 weeks left, but it's kind of over. But I don't need to get a tanning package again because I can just come here every night, it seems. Did you guys do any traveling this summer? Anybody? I probably saw you somewhere. The rest of you stayed here. I'm sorry for that. But I spent a lot of time in airports, actually, this summer. I went to Buffalo a lot. Land of the in-ground swimming pool. My family lives in Erie, Pennsylvania, so I travel to Buffalo often to go there. And I love being in airports because I feel like you can kind of tell where everybody's going just by what they're wearing. If you have more than one kid with you also, you're probably going to Orlando. If you've got an American flag or anything patriotic on your shirt, you're probably going somewhere that I never want to go. And you definitely don't belong in New York. But I love coming back from Buffalo because I feel like I'm going back to my real life. And the last time I did, I went to my dad's wedding, which I'll get to in a minute. But I got on the plane with a group of teachers from Buffalo that were coming to New York for some fun-filled teacher weekend. And they got on the... If you've never been... Are you from Buffalo? You... Say it again. Oh, you don't have the accent. I'm shocked. People from Buffalo kind of sound like people from Fargo, but a little more loud and a little more clueless. But I got on the plane and I just heard, oh my God, where is seat F? Seat 3F. Oh my God, where's seat 3F? Does anybody know? I said, look on your ticket. There's like a chart that shows you 3F is on the window, so sit down and stop talking. But I happened to get this woman next to me. I was reading a copy of Vogue with Giselle on the cover. Naturally, it's Hot Gay Comics, I'm reading Vogue. But she sits down next to me and, you know, I'm just so tired of them using my body and someone else's face. And I looked back at her and I said, thank you for setting the tone of my flight. I owe you everything. Behind her comes this enormous woman. Mind you, the flight from Buffalo to LaGuardia, 50 minutes max. Airtime, maybe 40. Oh my God, I'm so hungry. I hope they serve a meal on this flight. Do you think there's a meal on this flight? I said, I think you should be more worried that you had to buy 2 seats. It's a 50-minute flight. There are people who don't eat, people in Haiti eat mud cakes because they have nothing else. I think you're gonna survive with whatever's in your bag and whatever's left in your stomach. But I did, I went home for my dad married the babysitter. He did, but I wish it was like a hot, like, Poison Ivy type babysitter. The babysitter's 50. Sweet as pie, and I love her to death, but my new stepmom was my babysitter. My dad is my parents had like a bizarre marriage to start with, but their breakup was a little crazy, and my stepmom kind of came along, but my dad saw something that I did actually for Here TV, and he said, I saw that gay thing you did on TV. I said, what? And he said, that gay thing. I said, oh, great, did you love it? And he said, I've never seen you so gay before. I said, you should see me suck a dick. Gay, gay, gay. Anyone want to know? I'll show you later. We'll get to that later too. My mom, on the other hand, is a little bit, she likes the drink, hence the divorce. But she's not like a fun drunk that like throws things at a fireplace and says, your father was a bastard. She like forgot to pick me up from school. That's the kind of drunk she was. And she's totally gonna sue me if she ever sees this, but she drinks boxed Franzia wine out of the box, naturally, but she cuts it with Diet Sprite because it's a little bit too strong. But she drinks it out of a coffee cup because no one will ever know. Everyone drinks coffee at 5 in the morning. It's just not pink. But the one time I woke up for something, I was home visiting, and I went in the kitchen and I saw my mom pouring Diet Sprite into her coffee mug. And I said, what are you doing? And she said, it's too strong, the coffee's too strong. I said, well, there's a sugar bowl on the counter, or, you know, perhaps some Equal. I have some in my bag. If you're worried about the carbs, you can have it, I don't care. It's fine, it's fine. So that's my crazy upbringing, and this is what you get from that. I got my hair cut last week, and my stylist informed me that she has a fat pussy. Now, clearly, I don't know whether this is good or bad. Don't really care either. But she told me, you know, I've lost a lot of weight. Do you think that if I start eating more, like I'll gain it back? I said, I don't fucking know how pussy weight works. But all I could imagine was my slutty friends in like April or May being like, no dessert for me. It goes straight to my pussy. And I just bought a 2-piece and I cannot look like a whale on the beach. You know, a moment on the lips, a lifetime on the pussy. But then I imagine my gay friends in the same scenario. It'll go right to my pussy. You don't have a pussy. That's the point. Back pussy, man, cunt, whatever, you don't have it. Stop saying it. Does anyone else get disgusted by this? I hate it. If you want me to fuck your pussy, you need to leave, pretty much. Find someone else to fuck it. I'm just saying, people, I'm just saying. Of course, these are my friends with gay face. Please, half of you have gay face. I can see it from here. The lights aren't that bright. You guys know what gay face is? You don't know? You might have. Look somewhere next to you. You'll see it. Gay face is when you can tell somebody's gay just by looking at them. They don't need to speak or breathe or move. It's a lot of eyes and teeth. It's like, It's kind of like Michael Phelps if he didn't have that busted grill. I mean, he already has the body. What? But I've never dated anyone with gay face. Maybe I have. I don't think so. But believe it or not, single. Oh, it's funny, right? Thanks. Thank you so much. I don't know who it was, but I like you a lot. That's the best, though, when your friends are like, "You're single? You're so nice. How are you single?" I'm like, "Thanks for the salt in the wounds. I appreciate it." The problem is, I think that I used to not want to date nice guys. I wanted to be the nice one. I had to date somebody who wouldn't introduce me to his parents or acknowledge me. You do that, you don't call me back, I'm in love. You remember my birthday? We're done. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna happen. Now I've realized that unless you're gonna try to rape me, I'll probably go out with you. And if you pay for dinner, I'll probably let you try to rape me. I'm not picky anymore. But I looked over, I pondered the people that I dated in the past couple years, and it's like a United Colors of Benetton ad. Like, if you wrote it down, it's like a press release for a UN conference. Basically, it got to the point where I don't remember what white dick tastes like. If anyone wants to remind me, I'll give you my number. I'm just saying, people. Desperate times, desperate measures, desperate housewives. I'll be all of them. This is a New York crowd. You guys show up at Duane Reade, I imagine. You have your Advantage card? Hey. Last week, I got my 4th $5 reward coupon of the month, and I was so fucking stoked. And then I realized that means I spent $400 at Duane Reade in a month. That $20 didn't seem like an advantage anymore. Just putting it out there for you. Does anyone live in Brooklyn? Yeah. Does anyone want to admit that they live in Brooklyn? You live in nice Brooklyn. Well, kind of. I've been to your house. I know it's nice-ish. It's better than mine. First of all, I lived in Manhattan for like 5 years, and then I had to, and I say this with a grain of salt, downgrade and move to Brooklyn. It's all good. It's all fine. They're putting a liquor store on my block. I'm staying put for a while. I just found out today. But when I was moving from Manhattan to Brooklyn, I saw an ad on TV for this place somewhere, I don't know, Bay Ridge, whatever, called the Crystal Palace. And at the end of the commercial, they show this Greek couple coming down, and they say, "The Crystal Palace, where all your dreams come true." And I realized that my dreams have nothing to do with the 718 area code. That's more like a nightmare to me. But I moved into this building in Kensington, whatever. It's not London, people. Don't think it's glamorous, because it's not. But I moved into this building, and my ceiling started leaking. I was back from a trip, and I called my landlord and left him a note, and I got this letter from him that I'm going to read to you. First of all, no one in my building speaks English. They're all Polish, and they have beautiful script. I'll tell you that, beautiful script. But I left him this note, and like a week later, this is what I got. "Dear apartment number," I'm not going to tell you because I don't trust you. "I was here. No one answered me your door. In case of an emergency, you can call anytime." He didn't leave a number. "I'm here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Please let me know when someone will be home, then I can do something to you." I left him a note and I said, "You know what, on second thought, just change the locks." Thank you very much, you've been great.
I am so excited to have our first black man president. And it's not because he's hot, it's because he's a smoker. And I'm a smoker. And smokers are not strangers. We congregate outside of buildings, we tell each other things that we wouldn't tell anybody else. And you know what this means? This means I could go on a tour of the White House, I can step out for a smoke, the president can come and bum a Newport. And that's when I'm gonna find out who shot JFK and which senator is a tranny. Oh my God, dolls. There's something about my face that tends to attract street violence. I came up from the subway the other night, a gaggle of men surrounded me and started beatboxing in my face. Now, I love live music, but I'm not stupid. I know that this is an appetizer that's gonna lead to a gangbang. So I know that this missy's gotta fight back, you know? So they're like, and so I go, jazz. Oh my God. There's a huge stereotype out there that gay men are dramatic. Every time I hear that, it makes me want to kill myself. Because it's lesbians that are dramatic. And if you have any les friends or les connections, you know what I'm talking about. I was at a gay bar one night with my friend Sharon, and this woman traveling through on business was in the bar, and they had a one-night vag out. One night. And it's a year later now, and Sharon still calls me up every night. She's like, Danny, why does she think I'm stalking her? I'm like, well, this is just a wild guess. Maybe it's that gigantic catalog of sperm donors that you FedExed her. But she's like, Danny, she's like, you are the only person I've told this to. You're the only person I trust. You're the only one that knows about this other woman. Meanwhile, all of our friends know about the other woman. And they also think that they're the only ones that know. And how do I know this? Come on. Faggots don't keep secrets. We write press releases. She's a publicity whore is what she is. My mother has a very hard time with the gay thing. She doesn't want anybody to know I'm gay. I'm like, really, Mother? Because every time Liza Minnelli goes in and out of the hospital, I receive get well cards. It's a cultural thing that makes it hard for her. I'm half Mexican. I know, it's hard to believe half my DNA is prone to manual labor. My mother basically fell out of a telenovela. Like, imagine growing up like that. It was like, Mom, I want a Barbie. Psh. Mom, paint my nails. Psh. So when it's time to come out of the closet, I was like, Mom, I think that I might be Jewish. I couldn't tell her I was gay. We didn't know any Jewish people, and I thought they sounded like fun. Anne Frank had that loft. Sophie had those choices. I was like, these people are partiers. I think I have a non-drinking problem. No, I'm serious. When I'm drunk, I'm fine. I can operate heavy machinery. I can drive a car. But when I'm sober, I can go from 0 to Joan Crawford in 2 seconds. I went into Starbucks looking for a vanilla latte. The guy behind the counter told me they're out of vanilla syrup. I said, don't fuck with me, Starbucks! Christina, get me the manager! This son of a bitch is trying to ruin my career! I'm basically an old lady. I'm serious. Like, if you go in through my bag backstage, you'd find wadded up Kleenex, butterscotch candies. You wouldn't find anything hip like Starburst or Skittles, you know. Not on me. And I have a routine. 10 o'clock, it's a face mask, a murder, she wrote. Now here's the problem. This young guy, this young kiddo moved into my building right beneath me. And he likes that rock music, you know? So I gotta go down in a robe every night and, like, you know, say, knock it off, you know? I have noticed a change in his behavior now when I see him in the building. Now, when I see him, he straightens up his posture. He holds the door open for me. You know, very nice young man. But I'm looking at him, and I realize he is hot. And he's got abs. And he's looking at me, and he's seeing clap-on lighting in my apartment. A bed that goes up and down. Like prunes stashed away in places, a bundt cake cooling. I've got no chance with this guy unless I change my behavior. And then I find an out clause. There is a 90-year-old Asian lady that lives right next door to him. Oh, poor thing. You know, so I decide to man up and write a letter to him about his music from her in her voice. So I take a Post-it and I write, "Please to row." I was on the local news. They wanted a comedian to come on and do the weather, and it was so fun. I had a green screen behind me. I got to point at things. I did a bang-up job, so I thought. Until I watched the videotape, I was horrified. I consider myself to be slightly masculine. Very proud to be butch. And what I saw was a gay cartoon. Here's a reenactment. Hi, I'm Danny Leary, your Friday forecaster. Today in the weather, Newark's 56 degrees. We got Bridgeport at 52. We got rain, snow, sleet, hail, weather!
Honestly, my first job when I moved to New York City, I was a bouncer, DJ, house mother, MC, sometimes choreographer, at a strip club here in New York for 4 years, the first 4 years of my life. It was a fantastic job. But the messed up part was trying to get the job. Like, I actually, for me, it was weird because I just moved here from Texas originally. Hi, any Texans in the house? Woo! Honey, black, gay, fabulous. That's why my black ass is in New York. Anyway, keep the shit real, people. But no, it was funny because, like, you know, I left Texas, came here, looking for a job desperately. The first place I opened up this newspaper, and it's like cashier, theater, come on down. That was the thing. And I was like, oh my God, I'm a total actor, and I've had retail experience, right? So I show up now for this interview, and I walk into this place not knowing that it was going to be a strip club, but when I walked in, and it was like, ooh, they got red lighting. Ooh, what's that smell? Smell like hot coochie box in the summer, you know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck is that? And then there's some girl all spread out on the stage, giving it all to the floor. It was fantastic. But what was fucked up is like I had to walk through all of that to get upstairs to speak to the main person that were gonna give me the job. And I knew immediately when I walked in, it's like, I cannot be the big homer that I am. I have to come up with something cute, right? So I put, you know, because I'm a big guy, I got the pose, you know, I could do the walk. Yes, I'm tough. I can handle myself, and I can, but you know, I'd really rather sing a show tune, but that's the thing. So I go up now, and this woman looks at me, her name was Rosie, and she talked just like this, total New York Rosie with the Virginia Slims hanging out of her mouth. She's about 500 pounds, sitting behind the desk, fabulous woman though. And she looked at me and she goes, I'm looking at your resume here. I think you could probably work here. But the only thing is, I normally only like to hire gay men. And I looked at her and I went, oh, that's fabulous. Woo, girl, I did not know how long I was gonna have to keep that shit up, girl. Because you do whatever you gotta do to get paid in New York City. That's all I'm saying, right? So she looked at me then, she goes, you're gay? And I go, yes, I'm gay. She says, can you fight? And I said, can I fight? Honey, I was black, gay, and living in Texas, and you only have two choices, either run or fight. And clearly, I'm not a marathoner. So that job absolutely changed my life. But what was so messed up is that, of course, now, you know, your whole outlook in life is different because here I am now, I'm finally out at work. I have a job where I can be big, black, gay, and fabulous. So, of course, now, the first interaction that I have to actually beat somebody up. Because, you know, look, I hate for people who don't get it. It's like, yes, I like to sing a show tune, but I will fuck you up, okay? And the part that got me that was so funny is that when I was growing up in Texas, I had a friend of mine whose grandmother, whenever she used to spank them, she would always sing, Precious Lord, Take My Hand. Like, that was her. her way of trying to keep from killing them. And so, it's a true story. And so, I personally had to adopt something like that, but I'm not very religious, even though I grew up in the church. Not very religious. So what I did was, when I had to actually rough somebody up, I would just sing a show tune instead because it would calm my mind. So it's like you get somebody going, come on, babe, why don't we paint the town and all that jazz? Yeah, scared you, didn't I? Mm-hmm. You liked it? How you doing? Because again, I'm single trying to make a pop up here, huh? You know. I got new pants, hey. But this is the thing. Okay, so now, of course now, after being in New York for a while, you feel very comfortable with your sexuality. You're all grown and shit now. You know, I can do what I want to do. So I actually had an attempt. A friend of mine asked me to come back home to be in her wedding. And I was like, oh, that's really great. And she's like, oh, but Keith, I want you to be the usher in my wedding. I'm like, the usher? That shit is not glamorous enough for me. I'm sorry, usher. And then, of course, I was an usher with a bad attitude, too. Groom side, bride side. I don't care shit. Where the cocktails at? Sick of people. Anyway, but what was so messed up was, it's like she lived in a smaller town than when I actually grew up in. The town that I grew up in was in Galveston. And she lived in a much smaller town. And like, she asked me to be in the wedding, but she neglected to tell me that I'm going to be the only black person in this entire wedding party. It's kind of like, you know, you get the tuxedo and you dress up and it's like being Isaac on the Love Boat, you know what I mean? It's like you don't really get much going on, you don't participate much in the storyline until Leary shows up to play your mama. Anyway, I'm so glad it's an over 35 crowd. Thank you, Jesus, because that joke never works. Anyway, thank you. Honey, don't let them come for you for your age, Poppy. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, but what was so messed up was, of course now, I show up now in this town and it's like Deliverance. You know what I mean? It's like you're driving in, the windows were rolled down, and all of a sudden you kind of hear like the whistling of the wind in the trees. And then you look around and it's just a whole bunch of people with no teeth breathing heavy. And you're like, ooh, that's nasty. So then, like now I have to stop because I realize that this is not a very safe place for me to be during the daylight hours, so I had to stop and get some gas, right? So I'm filling up at this little gas station, and people are walking past me going, hey, Keith, how you doing? Hey, how are you? And I was standing there going, how do these people know me? And the guy looked at me and he goes, you know, look over there. And I turned around, and there's a billboard with my picture on it that says, don't shoot him, he's with the wedding party. I'm like, excuse me, that's not a hot look for me, you know? But, you know, at this time now, you know, I'm much more mature, and now I'm home, and I'm trying to work my gay thing out, and it so happens that in my hometown of Galveston, there's like 3 gay bars, right? So now I'm feeling after this wedding, I need to be, you know, kind of gay it up, because there was a lot of heterosexuality going on in that little small town without me. Anyway, actually, you know what's so funny, too? The only other thing in that wedding party that was not white was the wedding dress. I'm just saying, the girl, we hung out in high school. I know the girl was a hoe, but I'm just saying, that's why we were friends. Anyway, sorry, that was reflective. All right, but what happened was, now, this is what's so fucked up. So now I go to have a drink in this gay bar in my hometown in Texas, right? Liberated, I'm a New Yorker now, shoot, I don't have to be bothered with it. I could do my gayness down here, right? What? Do my gayness, honey. Own it, that's what you gotta do. So now I'm like standing in the bar, and there's these 3 queens standing next to me, and I say queens in a completely derogatory sense. One of the queens looks over at me, turns back to his friends, and he says, and I quote, I don't care if he hears me, I hate niggers. And I was like, oh my God, that faggot just called me a nigger. It's like Judy Garland is just a flipping and a turning in her grave right now. We're supposed to be all one under the rainbow. What kind of shit is that, right? So of course I got to pull my shit together because, you know, I'm fierce, I'm a comedian, I live in New York, you know, now I don't have to put up with this, right? And so I look at him, and I looked at his friends, and I go, you know what, Miss Thing? The one thing in Texas that they hate more than niggers are faggots. And worst case scenario, if the police break up in here, honey, I'm gonna be as black as they come. I don't know what happened, officer. See, what happened, I was trying to get a beer. I didn't even know what was going on in the thing. And then I walk in, there's some man dressed like Diana Ross. I didn't even know. I didn't even know. Look, I'm from New York. I don't even live here. Honey, because I'm gonna save my black ass before I fuck with any of y'all bitches. That's how that shit rolls. Anyway, but it's so messed up. Okay, here the set's gonna have a different turn now. You know, it's so funny because I was very lucky in my life. My parents both passed away last year. I know, it's sad. And I'm totally gonna comedically exploit it now from therapy. Anyway, but the one good thing that I have, and I don't know how people have the relationships like with their parents, like, did you have a good relationship with them? Or do you have good relationships with them? Yes, no, in between? Or are you gonna put some money in my pants? Is that what it is, hey? Because I told you I used to work at the strip club, girl. I could ride the pole. Hey. My parents are so ashamed of me right now. I know they're just going, what the hell's wrong with it? But no, I was really very lucky. I was very lucky. Oh, hey, oh. Shit, this is Subway. You're not getting it back. You could have given me more. You got my thigh the last time when I came up here. Damn. Anyway, getting back to my dead parents. So this is the thing. No, I was very lucky because I had a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful relationship with my father. And like, one of my favorite moments was him, because he was very down with the gay thing, which was really kind of unusual for like black Latino men, because I'm also Honduran. And he called me up one day because he wasn't feeling well. And he said that he had gone to see his doctor, and his doctor was sending him to see the specialist. And I was like, oh my God. He goes, yeah, Keith, he's a proctologist, and I had to see him yesterday, and I was, I'm all right. He said I was okay, but I really didn't like him. And I go, well, why, Daddy? He said, because his fingers were too big. Now, the last thing you need to be telling your gay son is about your behind spread out on a table with some man's finger up your coochie box. You know what I'm saying? Because for me, I was titillated and disgusted all at the same time. Woo! But it's so true. But one of the last things that my father said to me, which I thought was hilarious, he actually, you know, when the wave of gay marriages started happening and everybody was losing their mind, they were going to Canada, and then Massachusetts decided they was going to do all this scandal, and now you can get married in Massachusetts, and you get your domestic partnership in New Hampshire, and remember when Hawaii was cute? That was kind of cute for a while. So my father, like, calls me up now, and he goes, this is so wrong, but it's so true. He says to me, listen, I don't know what it is that you do when you do what you're doing. He says, but if you show up at this house and you have some man next to you and you tell me that that's your husband, you need to respect my husband. Daddy, you need to, because you know how indignant we get when we get a partner, don't we? We don't want to be telling, you know, see, right? You lose your mind when you show up with your girlfriend, everybody like, I can't believe her. Anyway, he said, don't come here with that house with that bullshit. I don't want to hear none of that. He says, but if you do have a man and he is your husband, he better be rich. And when he said that to me, I thought to myself, oh my God, I'm Daddy's little princess. He just wants me to marry well. Isn't that fabulous? Oh my God, keep laughing, stay fabulous. I'm Keith Price, thank you.